It will take a week to get here at best, and there's only 9 weeks left of the winter run to go.
It doesn't worry me having to buy a new fuel pump. That doesn't worry me. It's just a time factor it's going to give me. We want it fixed as quick as we can. Until this fuel pump's fixed, we're not going fishing, so we're playing a waiting game now.
Glenn's dad, Ουόρεν, is having a patchy run, but at least he's making money.
Crayfish!
There was a real bright, good big fish this morning, but there'd be 50 kilo. $4,500 worth of fish. I don't suppose you can really sneeze, can you?
The mood on the barrelea is positive, but they're in the direct line of the storm front. And Matt Syker is the last place you want to be when the swell turns ugly. The Southern Ocean, and there's rain to the west and sunshine to the east.
Oh, they pulled 6 pots and 2 fish, 3 fish. They've shut up shop.
The crew of the Bold Contender needs to giddy up and bag those 135 brindles if they want that extra $16,000.
They'll run and run. Crawl into our pots, and next minute they just stop. They just stay in their holes and they don't want to come out to play. And that's exactly what's happened today.
The sea can be like a casino sometimes, and gambling is not for everyone.
I suppose when you are fishing, it is a bit like gambling. You can go do a trip and lose a heap of money. And it's all luck as well. When the boat's full and you're steaming home and you think you're getting a certain price, the next minute you get an extra $5 or $10 a kilo. That's an awesome feeling. But when you get them trips going home, your boat's full of lobsters, and you think you're getting a price, and the next minute you're getting $10 less a kilo, you just lost 20 grand. That's a horrible feeling.
That's why Scuzzy locked in his $80 per kilo minimum price before he took the special order.
This one's going to be good because we're going home. That's why this one's going to be good. Pots like that will get us to the finish line very quickly. A couple of nice ones in it. Might even get a smile out of Toby, you reckon? Nah, maybe not. No excitement here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5! We got a 5! I'll take a 5. I thought this target would do it easy, to be honest, but it's going to be tight. It's going to be tight all the way to the line. Just a couple of lucky pots. That's all we need, a couple of lucky pots. Come on! Give us a chance. Oh, yeah! This should be a good one. Looks good. Let's see how we go. Get the pressure off a bit. Six. 5. Never thought I'd get so excited about getting 5.
The Bold Contender has hit a purple patch, but the storm front is hot on their heels.
You can see it building from the west, getting very dark down there. You look to the east and looks like sunny Queensland. Let's get these on and get out of here, I reckon.
This is the latest news from the Department of Meteorology in Tasmania.
It looks like on the satellite imagery we've got quite a few fronts coming up over the next few days.
Supervising meteorologist Rachel McKinney is keeping a close eye on the data.
The system with the deep low to the southwest of WA looks like a pretty decent
so
one.
I suppose that's the one that's bringing a total wave height of 8 metres.
The Bold Contender, the barrelea and the William Norling are all in the direct line of the storm.
You can see we have a low with a surface trough just to the south of Tasmania, and then in behind that low we see strong to gale force winds impacting on the west coast. Looking at the total wind wave height here, the peak in that total wave height as it reaches Tasmania is up to 8 to 9 metres, which is a really significant sea height. For well, anyone to be on the water in those conditions is quite dangerous, but in particular, a small vessel, 8 to 9 metre total wave heights, are really big seas and quite dangerous.
The gale force winds are expected to hit the fleet in the next 12 hours. The crew of the Minamara is holed up in Amy's Bay. They're on a high after their last pot, but still only have a handful of lobsters to their name.
I'd really want to make a move and get around the west coast. We're still on the south coast at the moment, but I want to push up a bit. That's what we'd like to do, but the weather's just dictating to us what we can do. We're a bit stuck here at the moment. Yeah. Scratch our heads a bit more and see what we're going to do.
There's plenty of grounds here for us to fish if we do get stuck.
Oh yeah, we'll just keep moving around.
They're catching lobsters, but that's not all they're catching.
Take these.
It's a conger eel. They muscle their way into the pots for the bait.
Fuck, I hate them.
They're aggressive by nature and will happily take a finger or two.
And we've got the special hook to get her out. So you've got to try and get him in his mouth, hook him up. You wouldn't want to put your finger in their mouth. They don't have sharp teeth, but they've got a good clamping pressure.
Clive's got to be careful. He doesn't want to harm the eel or lose a finger.
All right, we're hooking him up. Over he goes. We throw the eels back so that they eat the octopus, and we don't like the octopus because they eat crayfish. It's a bit like the old woman that ate the fly. And then she swallowed the spider, I suppose. What came after the spider? The bird? The cat?
Here's hoping the old lady analogy doesn't end the same way for the Minamara. The William Norling is hunting at the Harbingers in the Bass Strait. Skipper Danny is after $100,000 worth of big reds. He's bagged 312 lobsters so far. He needs another 288 to reach his total.
First fish of the day. Another one for us.
The William Norling is hands down catching the biggest reds.
Oh, beauty!
They've also caught the single biggest lobster,
Godzilla.
a 4-kilo monster. They're just not catching enough. The problem is the tide.
We're at the Harbingers, which we call the Bangers in slang. It's just northwest of King Island. A lot of tide comes out of Bass Strait, trying to get into Bass Strait and get out of Bass Strait. In between King Island and Cape Otway, it's like a funnel. Sometimes when the wind conditions are like they are, tides can jump a bit. And same as when the wind blows hard like it has been, it'll make the tide run a lot harder. I'm going to have to get wriggling here, Richo, with this gear, matey. It's going to have to really be happening fast, because I don't want to be here on the for hours. So I'm really going to crank into it. He knows we have to make it happen. So, and there's a target, and he's got a target too. Like he's the same as me. He wants every last dollar too.
And the tide is only half the battle. Lobsters don't like feeding in choppy seas, and the storm is closing in. In Dover, Skipper Glenn is keeping a close eye on the weather. His dad, Ουόρεν, is out at Matsyker Island, and that's the last place you want to be when a storm hits. There's the rocks, the gusty winds, and the rogue waves. Ουόρεν lost his first boat out here.
Last time I was talking to Dad, he was talking about hanging out, so... But I've looked at the weather and it looks ordinary, big swell, so I'm going to give him a ring and tell him he probably should come home, because it's just, no, not worth staying out there. It's bloody going to be real bad.
What's happening with the weather, Glenn? We're just trying to make up our mind what we're going to do.
Yeah, well, it didn't look real bloody bright there before. I'd probably be coming home if I was you. Looked like just a week of absolute. After that, there might be a chance of getting another trip out of it.
We're certainly not going to sit there for 4 or 5 or 6 days or something.
No, I don't blame you. I'd be coming home too, old boy, so... well, I better let you get off your sat phone then, and I'll catch up with you when you get in mobile range.
OK, see you, Glenn. Thanks, mate. Bye, mate.
Happy with that?
You want the good news or the bad news? It's going to be 6, 7, 8 metres for the next 3 or 4 days, they say, so... What do you reckon?
I don't know. I'd rather stay out here and fish.
Feed in the dinghy and a couple of pots, will we?
Don't leave it in dinghy.
Jai wants to stay, but what none of them know yet is that Jai's mum has just been admitted to hospital, about to undergo emergency surgery. The decision Ουόρεν makes in the next few moments will affect Jai forever. Stick and stay or head home. The William Norling is racing against the tide.
Well, when there's a bit of tide, they'll be sitting on top of the water. So the tide's moving that way. That'll drag those pots and stretch out the string that's attached to the pot. If there's too much tide, it'll take the floats